Hello friends, this is Stacey. Welcome back to our channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm so excited for this video because I am sharing with you a fall reading wrap up and my December/winter TBR. Hope you enjoy. I am filming this in December, so winter's almost here and I cannot believe it. It's almost Christmas time and everything. And I've been reading lots of really good books lately, and there's a lot that I'm excited to read, so I'm going to share them with you in today's video. And so I'm going to split this up into two parts. Part one is going to be my fall reading wrap-up, and part two is going to be my December/winter TBR. So let's get started. I am going to share my fall reading wrap-up with you first. And I'll put timestamps if you just want to skip ahead to the December/winter TBR, but feel free to watch the whole video if you want to see my fall reading wrap up as well. But let's go. So I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible. I don't want this to be a long video. So for my fall reading wrap up, we're going to start here. And I'm not going to share every single book I read with you guys this fall season because it's way too many books. I read quite a bit. I read about 10 books a month or so it'd be way too long of a video to explain and go through every book I read this fall season along with my December TBR. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share with you a few books I read this fall that were my favorites and that were 5-star reads. So we are going to get into that now. So the first book in my fall reading wrap-up that was one of my favorites that I just read recently was The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. I'm not going to explain the synopsis. I know you guys all know this book. You know what it's about, small town romance. This book was viral on TikTok. Came out last year. I just finally got around to reading it. I actually filmed a vlog while I was reading it. It's our first weekly vlog where I was reading orange books. So check that video out if you missed it. I'll link it above if you want to hear my thoughts where I started this book right at the end of that video. But long story short, Steph read this before me. She loved it. So I read it in November. Absolutely loved it. Flew through it. Such a cute, sweet, adorable adult romance with a little bit of spice at the end. Not too bad. Wasn't as bad as I was expecting. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. I read it on my Kindle, but Steph read this copy, so I have to show you. So this was definitely one of my favorite books of the fall season. I loved everything about it. It had the small town Gilmore Girls vibes. I loved the main characters. I liked the romance. It was a little insta-love, but I knew that going in, so I was okay with it. I love the town. It's so cozy with the cafe and everything like that. And it is a companion series, and I'm so excited to continue. I'm planning to read books 2 and 3 this month in December, which we already own, and there's more coming out next year about all of the companion characters in the town. So I'm very excited to continue reading this companion series, but I absolutely love this. Gave it 5 stars. Highly recommend if you're looking for a cute adult romance with a little bit of spice to it. So that is the first one. The second book that was one of my favorites that I read this fall, I have it on my Kindle, so I'll put a picture here to show you. It was My Vampire Plus One by Jenna Levine. This is the author that wrote My Roommate is a Vampire, so this book is actually a companion to that one. That one was released last year. This one was just released this fall, and I was so excited about it. You guys know if you've been here, I loved My Roommate is a Vampire last year when I read it. One of my favorite books of the year. It was just so quirky and fun and unique. I love the characters, the setting. I love any type of paranormal romance. I love vampires and everything like that. So this was right up my alley. It was like a vampire romance. So I loved book 1. This one was no different. I absolutely loved this one. It had fake dating. I loved the characters. I loved that it was Reginald's story because he was in book 1. I just loved everything about this one. This was a 5-star read for me as well. I just loved Jenna's writing. Like I said, I love the characters and storyline. I always love a good fake dating romance in books. So I highly recommend this one if you like paranormal adult romance. But I would definitely read My Roommate is a Vampire first before this one, since this one is a companion. You can read them as standalones if you want to, but I like to try to read companions in order. Companion series in the order they're written in, because you get a sense of the characters earlier on if you read the books in order, because the two characters in this book were in the first one. So you kind of get, their background and a little bit about them in the first one. So that's why I recommend reading My Roommate is a Vampire first, but you don't have to. But I highly recommend this if you like adult romance, paranormal romance, vampires, pretty clean. So yeah, absolutely loved it. That was another one of my favorites. The next one of my favorite books I read this fall, I used to have the physical copy, but I actually loaned it to our younger sister to read because she loves thrillers. It's pretty much the genre she reads the most, so I gave it to her. I told her she needed to read it, so I don't have to show you, but I'll put a picture on the screen. This is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I love this author. He's one of, I think, the best thriller authors ever. He wrote The Silent Patient, which I'm sure you've all heard of. It was like a best-selling book. I read that one years ago, absolutely loved it, so I've been keeping an eye on the author and his work. He also has another book called The Maidens that I haven't read yet, but read The Fury. I've had this on my TBR cart for like a year, and I finally got around to it, and I absolutely loved it. This was a 5-star read. Such a good thriller. It takes place, it's like a murder mystery on an island where everyone's stranded on an island. Kind of like if you read like And Then There Were None or like Lord of the Flies. I think he was influenced by those books. And he's Greek, so he likes to add some Greek mythology in his books. This is one of the best thrillers I've ever read, including his other book, The Silent Patient. There were so many twists and turns that I did not see coming. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. This was probably my favorite thriller of the year, and I'm very picky with thrillers, and I loved this one so much. Highly recommend it if you like adult thrillers with a murder mystery element. I think you will really enjoy this. I could not put it down, and Alex's writing is just unbelievable, like how he writes his narratives and his storylines. So this was one of my favorites as well. Definitely check it out. The next favorite of mine from fall was Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia Faeries. We actually own the hardcover of this, but I just don't know where it is right now. Steph probably put it somewhere else. But I finally read this. It was one of Steph's favorite books of the year, I think last year. And she's been wanting me to read it, and I finally read it, and I really enjoyed it. It's a cozy fantasy, and when I was first reading it, I wasn't sure what I thought because it's very slow-paced, as a lot of cozy fantasies are, which is very different from like other fantasy books that have that, faster pace to them. So this was very slow-paced. I wasn't sure about the first half, and then when I got to the second half, I flew through the rest of it, and I loved it. So I feel like the first half was definitely a slow start, but the second half made up for it, so it's definitely worth it. If you struggle through the beginning, keep going with it, because I promise you it gets better, and by the end of the book, I loved it, even though I wasn't sure how I felt in the beginning. So this was a cozy fantasy. I'm not a huge fantasy reader, but I've been liking cozy fantasy lately, so this is a great one. If you like fairies and cozy fantasy with like a little bit of romance, highly recommend this one. The next one I have to show you, this is a cozy mystery. This is one of my favorite cozy mystery series. This is A Matter of Life and Death by Ellie Alexander. This is the second book in the Bake Shop Mysteries series. You guys know Steph and I love this series. One of my all-time favorite cozy mystery series. Small town, main character has a bake shop. It's just so cozy. Definitely recommend this series. We both read the first one earlier this year, so this is book 2. We wanted to try to read the series in order. Steph read this right before me, and then I read it, and we both absolutely loved it. Can't wait to continue the series. Highly recommend if you're looking for a cute, cozy mystery read, and there's so many books in the series, they're still coming out, so highly recommend. And then the next one I loved this fall, I read on my Kindle, was The Witch Is Back. I actually read this around our Vermont trip, and I really like this one. I give it 5 stars. I read a bunch of witch books this fall. I love witch books for spooky season, and this one was my favorite out of all the ones I read. I just really liked how it was done. It was a second chance romance, and Steph tried it. She didn't like it as much, but I absolutely loved it. I really like the author's writing, and it is a series, so I will definitely continue. But I definitely recommend this if you're looking for a cute adult romance with some witch vibes. The next one's another cozy I don't have to show you. I'll put a picture on the screen. Is Farm to Trouble by Amanda Flower. I heard so much about this cozy mystery author, and I had never read her books, so I finally read this one. This is a brand new series from her called Farm to Table Mysteries, I think. But this is the first one called Farm to Trouble. And I just read this, absolutely loved it. Such a cute, cozy mystery set on a farm. It's just so adorable, and I love the cover. Highly recommend, and I cannot wait to continue that series. And then the last one from my fall reading wrap-up, my favorites, was Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is the third and final book in the Caraval trilogy. The series has been out for forever, but I've been reading it for the first time, slowly making my way through it, and I finally read Finale, which was the last book. Absolutely loved it. 5 stars. I feel like it wrapped up the series very, very well. If you like young adult fantasy, definitely check out the Caraval series if you haven't. I'm not a huge fantasy reader, but I absolutely love this series, and Stephanie Garber's writing is just so whimsical and amazing. So definitely recommend the series. And now I have to start the Once Upon a Broken Heart series next, and I cannot wait to do that. So that is it for my fall reading wrap-up, my favorite books I read this fall. Now we are going to quickly jump into my December/winter TBR. So I'm going to fly through this. I'm not going to explain, like I said, what these books are about, because I will link all the books down in the description box for you guys, so you can go check them out if you're interested. This video would just be way too long if I shared like what each book is about, so I'm just going to fly through the books that I want to read this month in December, and also just through winter in general. So the first one is Lovelight Farms. I've had this on Kindle for like probably over a year. I wanted to read it last year, didn't get to it, so I really want to get to it this year. It looks like a really cute adult romance. It's actually a series, and I've heard good things about it, and people said that you don't have to read it around Christmas because I don't think it's actually like a Christmas book, but the cover looks Christmassy to me, so I do want to try to read it in December. So that is the first one. The second one is The Wedding Witch, and this is actually the third book in the X-Hex series by Erin Sterling. I read the first two, the past 2 fall seasons, loved them. So this is book 3, and it actually came out this fall, but I didn't read it this fall because I wanted to save this one for December because it actually takes place around Christmas. I think there's like a Christmas wedding, so I wanted to save it for December, so I'm hoping to get to this one this month. Really loved the first 2. Then, of course, we have the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore, which is the book after the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I love the first one, so I really want to read the second one, and then also the third one, The Christmas Tree Farm, I really want to get to as well. It's the perfect time of year to read it. It takes place around Christmas time, so I love historical romance this time of year as well. So I'm working on this series called The Regency Vows by Martha Waters, and I'm waiting on one from the library on Libby. I have one on hold, so I'll put the title of it here. This is the one I'm waiting on. I think I'm next in line to get it, so I should be able to read it this month. But I love historical romance in the winter. It's just cozy, so I really want to get to this. I highly recommend this if you're like a Bridgerton fan. This series is really, really good. And I've read a few of them. There's like 4 or 5. So this is the next one I need to read. So I'm excited about that one. The next one is Iron Flame. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing. Steph and I both read Fourth Wing like a year ago. We really liked it. And neither of us have read Iron Flame yet. And I think the third book comes out in January. So we really want to catch up and read Iron Flame. So I'm going to try to read this one as well. And of course, I want to continue the Harry Potter series. I'm on the one that comes after Goblet of Fire. I forgot what it's called, but I'll put it here. But I'm reading Harry Potter for the first time as an adult, super late to the game, and I've just been slowly working through it, so I like to save it for this time of year because it's super cozy and perfect for like winter and Christmas. So I need to continue the Harry Potter series, and then of course I want to read some Christmas romances, so I'm just going to fly through a couple of them. The first one I want to read is Holiday Romance. I read Snowed In from this author last December, which is actually, I think, the sequel or the companion, but I didn't have the first one at the time, so I just read the second one. So now we have Holiday Romance, so I really want to go back and read this one because the characters in this one are actually in the second one as well. So I really want to prioritize that one. And next I also want to read Cross Country Wedding. This is the sequel to A Cross Country Christmas, which I read last year, loved it, love Courtney Walsh's books. She's like the best adult clean romance author, highly recommend her. So this is the sequel to A Cross Country Christmas. the wedding one, so I really want to read this one. I really also want to read Faking Christmas. This one Steph and I bought like a year or two ago, never got to it, so I really want to get to that one. And also In a Holidays, I actually bought this one for Steph for Christmas last year, and neither of us read it, so I really want to read that one as well. And then I have a couple other random ones on my Kindle. I really want to read the Under the Mistletoe short stories on Kindle. I think they're on KU. They're written from a bunch of like good authors like Tessa Bailey. You guys might have seen them. I would love to read those too. And then I also have this one that I found recently. This is Cowboy Christmas Redemption by Maisie Yates. I've heard really good things about her books. I love Western cowboy romances. So I have this one, very Christmassy, so I would love to get to this one as well. And then there's a bunch of cozies I want to get to. I'm not going to go through them, but I have a ton of Christmas cozy mysteries on my Kindle that I would love to get to as well. And of course, I also love fantasy this time of year, so I really want to continue or start the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I read book 1, which is Throne of Glass, like 10 years ago, not even kidding. I think I read it in 2014, and I just never continued the series, so I really want to like read the series. I just don't know if I want to like completely start over and reread the first book or just like continue on. I've been wanting to read these for a while, but I keep pushing them off because I just don't like starting new series very often, but I really do want to read the Throne of Glass series and also ACOTAR. I haven't really read either of these, so I would love to start Throne of Glass first if I can this winter. And then I also have some more cowboy romances that I'm still trying to get to. The first one is this beauty that Steph got me. This is Done and Dusted. I heard really good things about this. It's like a cowboy romance series. I think there's like 3 books out and I haven't read it, so I've had this on my cart for a while. So I really want to get to this one. And then of course I want to read Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in the Chestnut Springs series. Also a really hyped up popular series. I have not started yet. I was planning to read it in the fall and then it just didn't happen, so I would love to start this one and Done and Dusted in the winter as well. I feel like it'll be a cozy time to read them both. And then I have this fall book on Kindle called Just Don't Fall. This was actually in my fall TBR and I didn't get around to it, and it is a fall book, but I might still consider reading it this winter because it's a hockey romance and hockey does go on through the winter season. And I really like to read sports romances this time of year, so I might try to get to this one too. I heard really good things about it. It's like a clean adult romance. It's a hockey romance, so I really do want to get to this one since I didn't get to it in the fall time. Next I have a thriller. I also like to read thrillers this time of year, and this is the one I have physically. This is The Perfect Stranger from Megan Miranda, and I've been wanting to check out this author's thrillers for a while. I read a book from her a long time ago that was like a young adult book called Fracture. Let me know if any of you remember that. And I really liked it, and now she writes thrillers. So I've been wanting to try her thrillers. We actually found this one in a little free library recently, so I had to grab it, but I do also have some of her thrillers on my Kindle. So I'd really like to get to this one, and also some more thrillers on my Kindle as well when I'm in the mood for a thriller, because it's a good time of year to read them with, you know, the cozy vibes. And then there's a couple sports romances on my Kindle I would love to get to. The first one's The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. This is a football sports romance. It's football season, so I feel like it's an appropriate time to read it. I read one in Rome from this author, loved it. So I really want to get to The Cheat Sheet very, very soon. And I want to prioritize my sports romances while those sports are actually on TV, because I actually love watching sports. I watch basketball, football, baseball, a lot of different things. So I really want to prioritize my sports romances this time of year. I feel like it's the best time to read them. So I really want to read that one. And then I just discovered this author. She's actually one of Steph's author friends. She's a indie author. We got this book from her on Kindle. It's called The Pucker Up Pact. And I believe this one is a hockey romance as well. So I would love to get to that one. And then I just got this one also called Fumbled from Alexa Martin. This is like the second book in a series. The first one is called Intercepted, and it is also a football sports romance. I read Intercepted book 1 like a while ago, and I've been wanting to continue the series, but I've been waiting for the books to like go on sale on Kindle and such. So this is book 2 called Fumbled. It finally went on sale, so I snagged it. It was like $2 for a daily deal, so I snagged it. So I really want to get to this one because I loved book 1 so much, and like I said, it's another football romance, and I just love sports romances, so I really want to get to that one as well. Alright, we made it. That is it for my fall reading wrap-up favorites and my December/winter TBR. Of course, there are a lot more books I could mention, but I just didn't want this video to get too long, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in a comment if you have read any of these books. Please tell me what you thought, and let me know what was your favorite book that you read this fall, and also share some of your December winter TBR books, and give me any recommendations if you have them. I would love to know. So leave that in a comment below. But thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate your support. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful holiday season. Steph and I are so thankful for each and every one of you. So I hope you take time to relax and romanticize and enjoy the holiday season and read lots of great books. But if you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, join our community and our amazing channel family. We would love to have you. We have lots more fun videos coming, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out, and leave a comment below. Thank you again, friends, and I'll see you soon in our next video. Bye!